Hello, everybody. Welcome to BYJU'S, and I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Now, we all know that the exams are going to be raining down upon us pretty soon. So, in this session, we're going to be focusing on some of the best ways in which you can strategize and prepare for the math exam. We'll be going through, the syllabus. As you all know, because of the COVID restrictions, some syllabus has been deleted. We'll be also going through certain important concepts and formulas that you guys should be thorough with. And lastly, we'll be solving some questions from the past year papers. Okay, so let's get right to the point. So the first part, okay, so how are you going to prepare for this exam or for the matter any exam? All right, now if I were to tell you the single most important factor in any exam preparation, it has got to be this. It has got to be your plan. Okay, so this plan is going to be dependent on certain factors like the exam timetable. It's going to be dependent on your strengths and weaknesses, and it will also be dependent on certain topics that carry a high weightage in the exam. Okay, now this plan is meant to calm you down in moments of stress, and it should be guiding you in the right direction. Like, let's say for example, you have decided that you are first in the preparation part. You're going to go through certain topics that have been featuring consistently in the past years, but your friends have decided something else. Okay, so this plan, when you look back, okay, it's going to remind you of your strategy, which has been crafted as per your strengths and weaknesses, and then guide you, as I told you, in the right direction. So a plan, trust me, okay, it's a single most important factor in any exam preparation, and this will eventually help you stick to the syllabus because you've planned the syllabus out. Okay, so if you guys have gone through some concepts which are outside the syllabus, it's great for the knowledge part. But if you were to tackle this exam head on, my suggestion to you would be stick to the syllabus. Okay, stick to the syllabus, as most of the problems that are going to come, most what all of the problems that are going to come in the exam are going to be from the textbook. Okay, so after this, solve the previous year's question papers. Just go through the 2021 sample paper. You can download all of these from the BYJU'S website, and I would suggest you that this sample paper for the year 2021, go through it realistically, as per the exam setting. Like, print the paper out. Okay, sit in a quiet room and try and attempt this paper in the allotted time. Okay, do it realistically so that you know what minor tweaks and changes you may need to make to the way that you're taking the exam, or let's say the time management may get a little better. And after that, lastly, a week before, revise the important formulas and notes. And if all these steps have been performed appropriately, this is going to happen automatically. Okay, the acing the exam part, it's going to take care of itself. Okay, so after going through this preparation, let's just check how we should be attempting this exam. Okay, now for that, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that there's a student who is sitting in the examination hall. Okay, now this guy, he's looking at his watch and he's eagerly waiting for the paper to come. He's a little nervous, as we all are, when the actual exam comes by. So the paper is handed over to him and he's very ecstatic. Now this lad has prepared pretty well for the exam, and when he goes through the question paper, he's very happy because he knows how to solve most of the questions. But yes, that dreadful but, he does not have enough time to attempt all the questions. He realizes that later on. Why do you think this happened? Okay, in spite of knowing how to solve all the questions, the student did not have time to attempt all of them. It's because we forget that uh, any exam, okay, test two important factors. Okay, the first one, of course, is your knowledge of the syllabus and how you are able to apply those concepts and in solving the problems. This part we already know it. Okay, but the second most important factor any exam is trying to test is your ability to perform under pressure. Okay, your ability to utilize the most important asset in this exam, and that is time. How are you going to prioritize? How you are going to allocate time as per the questions? Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay, so read the instructions carefully. Of course, this part I'm sure you guys would do it, but remember to go through all the questions carefully. If you feel that there's certain questions that are going to take up a lot of time, move on. Okay, there's always going to be time to come back to those questions later on. And if you're finding some problems difficult, do not freak out. Okay, if you're prepared well for the exam, pretty much all the other students are also finding that problem difficult as well. Keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in mind. So go through all the questions, attempt the section that you're confident about, and pay attention to the keywords, guys, because what happens is, in a rush to attempt through to the solutions, okay, we forget to pay attention to these keywords. Like, let's say, for example, the problem has given you the diameter of the circle, but in a rush you take that to be the radius and proceed, and then the calculations are going to come wrong and you lose some important marks, okay, even though you knew how to solve the problems. So pay attention to the keywords, and of course the bigger problems you're going to learn how to solve it part by part. Okay, so do remember that time is going to be the most important asset, and utilize it effectively. Okay, so this is how you're going to be attempting the exam, some tips and tricks. So this was the 2019 paper, and these are the instructions that you guys have to go through carefully. Okay, next, general instructions. Like they give you how many questions you need to attempt, and what sections it has been divided into, but this is related to the 2019. We shall be going through the sample paper for the year 2021. So this paper here has been divided into two parts that you can see, part A and part B. Part A has two sections, okay, section 1 and 2, and part B is going to have 3. We are going to be going through this in detail later on. This is just to give you guys an idea that things have changed now because of the COVID restrictions, as we all know, right? By the way, you can download that from the BYJU'S website and certain past year papers as well. Okay, now this typology of the question, this is just to remind you that the standard mathematics and basic mathematics, right? And I'm sure you guys know it by now that standard mathematics is taken by students who want to take higher mathematics later on and pursue careers in engineering and all of that. So here is the marks allocation for this. And as you can see, remembering and understanding, there have been 43 marks allocated to it. Questions that utilize this skill of remembering and understanding and being able to apply it. And application part is 19 marks here. And analyzing, evaluating, and creating, some of the most important problem solving skills that you need in order to do higher mathematics later on also have been allocated 18 marks. Whereas when you look at the basic mathematics paper, and I'm sure you know this is taken by students who do not want to pursue higher mathematics later on. As you can see, the remembering and understanding part is higher in weightage, and then the analyzing, evaluating, and the creating part has been reduced in terms of the marks. Okay, so this is the skill that these two papers are trying to understand from you. Let's quickly go through the marks distribution. Now, this one was for the year 2019. So as you can see, there were 4 sections here, and these were the marks and allocated for it. We don't have to go through this now because we are interested in the marks distribution for the year 2021. So as you can see, in the year 2021, the question paper has been broken down into 2 parts. Okay, so you've got the part A and you've got the part B. Now, part A, section 1, it's going to have 16 questions, each question carrying 1 mark. So the total marks are going to be 16. And after that, in the second section, you guys would be given 4 case studies. Okay. Each case study, remember, is going to have 5 questions. Okay. But you guys only need to attempt 4 out of 5. Okay. So this will again mean that you're answering 16 questions because 4 case studies, and each case study you're going to be attempting 4. So 16 marks for this as well. So the part A is going to be 32 marks. Okay. And part B, the first section is going to have 6 questions, 2 marks each. All right. So 12 marks for that. And then the second section will have 7 questions, 3 marks each. So 21, and 3 questions in the last section, 5 marks each. So that will add to 15, which means this is 48 marks. So section A will be 32 and section B will be 48, collectively adding up to 80 marks, like it has always been, right? So here's the marks distribution. And this is what I was talking about, okay? The part where I was talking about the plan and then the exam strategy and all of that, right? So we feel that, all these 1 mark questions, okay? So this is particular to what? your section A, okay, you're going to be attempting 32 questions, right? A good time allocation to that could be 50 minutes. All right. Because some questions you would answer it in less than a minute, and then I'm just worried about the case study part, okay, where you may have to go through the case study, but then since each question is carrying 1 mark here, and some questions may even have options available to you, I feel 50 minutes is more than enough. Okay, so for this section, go through the questions carefully. Don't get hung up on one question for too long. Okay, so you have this in mind that for these 32 questions I've allocated 50 minutes. Okay, so maybe the first when you're jumbling down the problems like this, maybe you've solved like 22, 23 questions correctly. Okay, and you've done this in, let's say, 30 minutes. So good job, right? And the most important thing that you've done is you build a positive momentum. That's what you guys have to remember to do during the first part of the section. Okay, build a positive momentum and give your mind the confidence it needs to tackle this head on. Okay, so that's why don't get hung up on a problem for too long. Just move on, attempt as many easy ones as you can, and once you've built that positive momentum, and then you have that in your mind that, hey, look, I've attempted 23 questions in like 30 minutes, you'll be very happy, and ideas will start flowing on its own for the rest of the other problems. Okay, so for this 50 minutes, for the 2 marks questions, which we'll be attempting 6 of those, okay, 30 minutes for that. And then for the 3 marks, 7 questions there, 40 minutes. And then for the last 5 mark questions, which we'll be attempting 3 of those, 40 minutes for them. So this could be a good time allocation. Okay, I'd suggest that you take a snapshot of it, or write it down, okay, and practice the sample paper as per this time limit. And I'm sure you agree with what we have thought of it. Okay, so let's move on now to the other part, marks wise approach for the year 2021. So as you can see, for 1 mark questions, 2 mark questions, 3 mark questions, and 5 mark questions, right? So for the 1 mark, all you got to do is identify the formula or the concept that you guys have to apply there and apply it correctly. That's it. Okay, they're not going to be too many steps involved. Mostly the questions are going to be straightforward and direct. Okay, now for the problems that have 2 marks, your steps may matter a little bit here. So solve it step by step. Of course, you're going to have to identify the formula or concept and make sure you apply it correctly. Now, for the stuff that is of 3 marks and 5 marks, be a little careful here, because write down the formulas, because writing the formulas carry marks. Okay, show the steps clearly. Okay, write the conclusion down, because these things also fetch marks, and it tells the examiner that you have come really prepared and you know what you're doing. Okay, so read it carefully, solve it step by step, and of course you're going to have to identify the formula or the concept pertaining to the scenario being discussed here. Write down the formula correctly. Okay, here is the important part, apply it correctly, and be careful, of course, while you're doing the simplification or the calculation part. Okay, just do it nice and easy, do not take stress. All right, and for the 5 mark question, of course, you're going to do the same thing. Just remember that the number of steps that are needed to come to the answer are going to be a little longer, right? So check all the parts, solve it step by step, because what may happen is the one part answer that you get may have to be used in the other part. Okay, so if that part is wrong where you've got it, the other part will automatically become wrong, even though, sorry, if you know how to solve the whole thing. So if your answers are wrong, you lose a huge chunk of marks. So be very careful when you're doing these type of questions. Okay, so identify the correct formula or concept, and be careful again while you're doing the simplification or the calculation part. All right, good. Now let's go ahead and check out the unit wise weightage of marks. As you guys all know, you have 7 units, right? And these are the marks that are allocated to them. So the number system carries 6 marks, algebra 20, coordinate geometry 6, geometry 15, trigonometry 12, mensuration and statistics and probability having 10 and 11 respectively. Okay, so it all adds up to 80 marks here. So algebra is the topic that occupies 25% of your paper, followed by geometry, which is at a 19%, and statistics being 14. So in percentage wise, algebra looks like the chapter with the highest weightage. Okay, so let's go through a few things, okay, in a bit now. But first, important points that you guys have to keep in mind is that separate marks are provided for each step. I already told you that while I was discussing the the methodology that needs to be followed for attempting the 3 marks and the 5 marks, right? And always write the conclusion, guys, at the end of every question, as it carries 1 to 1/2 mark depending on the question. And as I told you, it shows the examiner that you know what you're doing. Okay, good. Next. Now, important part. Okay, so as you guys all know, as I told you, because of the COVID restrictions, there has been a reduction in the syllabus. So let's quickly check out what's there in the syllabus and what's not there. This will eventually help you plan better, as I said. Okay, so the deleted portion in real numbers, the Euclid's division lemma is no more. Okay, so this has been deleted, and what you guys have to be focusing on are basic stuff. Okay, so as you guys know, real numbers classified into two types: rational and irrational. Rational numbers are those that can be expressed in the form of a fraction. You guys have to know the decimal expansion, how to convert that decimal recurring into a fraction, all of that. Terminating decimals, how do you write it as the product of primes? Non-terminating, you can't. And these are some concepts that are a must know. Okay, you've already gone through these. That's why I'm going through them a little faster. Proving irrationality of these, and then a product of two numbers is equal to the product of the LCM and HCF. Okay, so this may come in like 1 mark, 2 mark stuff. So to prove if P divides A square, P also divides. So proofs like these, basic stuff. Okay, although this just carries how many marks here? Well, this one carries 6 marks. So it may be featured mostly in 1 mark, 2 mark, or 3 mark, right? Good. Now comes the second unit, which is algebra. So what is the deleted portion looking like? So in polynomials, statement and simple problems on division algorithm. So they have been deleted for you. A pair of linear equations in two variables. So only the cross multiplication method has been deleted. You still have to know how to solve two linear equations using the other methods that you already know. Now, quadratic equations. So what stuff has been deleted? Only the situation problems, which is based on equations reducible to a quadratic equation. So you guys still have to know how to solve quadratic, the relationship between roots and all of that. Only this part has been deleted. And finally, arithmetic progression. So applications in solving daily life problems based on sum of n terms. So this is the part that has been deleted. Okay, so let's quickly go through now what part is still there. Okay, so classification of polynomials. You guys already know what a monomial, binomial, and a trinomial is based on the number of terms. This is the classification, and based on degrees, right? So if the degree is 1, linear; if the degree is 2, quadratic; 3, cubic; 4, bi-quadratic. Okay, so here are the degrees for you, right? I'm sure you guys already know all of this. Yeah, and then this part is going to be important again. Okay, so quadratic polynomial, this is going to be the general form. The sum of roots is going to be minus b by a, and the product of roots is going to be c by a. So for the cubic, the sum of roots or sum of zeros is going to be minus b by a. The sum of product of roots taken two at a time, like for example, the roots are alpha, beta, gamma. What this tells you is sum of product, so alpha, beta plus beta, gamma plus gamma and alpha. So this sum is going to be equal to c by a. And lastly, the product of all the roots. So this one is alpha, beta, gamma is going to be equal to this. And this one, as you guys know, alpha plus beta plus gamma. Okay, so this one is going to be minus d by a. Good. Next. So pair of linear equations in two variables. So you know what happens, right? So these two are the two linear equations. So intersecting lines, which means they have a unique solution. So two lines intersect at a point. So condition for that is going to be this, that the ratio of a1 upon a2 cannot be equal to b1 upon b2 if they have a unique solution or one solution. Okay. And if this is the condition that a1 upon a2 is equal to b1 upon b2 is equal to c1 upon c2, they will have infinite solutions. Okay, because they'll both the lines are going to be coinciding. Okay, so coincident lines. So they will have infinite solutions. Stuff like x plus y is equal to 4. 2x plus 2y is equal to 8. Another example. So in all these cases, the ratio of a1 upon b2, b1 upon b2 to c1 upon c2 is 1 over 2. And lastly, what are parallel lines? Lines that are parallel, okay, having the same slope and all. So for this, the ratio of a1 upon a2 should be equal to b1 upon b2, but more importantly, it should not be equal to c1 upon c2. So they are called parallel lines and they have no solution. So make yourself acquainted with this terminology as well, because they may not be giving you this in the exam sometimes. Okay, so no solution means parallel lines. Infinite solutions means coincident lines, and a unique solution means intersecting lines. So good with this. Let's move on. Now here's the quadratic equations part. Okay, so formation of a quadratic equation in its standard form, solution, you guys should know how to factorize or how to use the formula, that is minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Okay, and the nature of roots, which is dependent on this b square minus 4ac. Okay, so so b square minus 4ac, as you guys all know, is called the discriminant of the quadratic equation, this, right? So how do you figure out the nature of the root? So if b square minus 4ac is more than 0, which means it's positive here, the roots are going to be real and distinct. Okay, so if you were to talk about it graphically, this graph is going to cut the x-axis at 2 points. So that's the reason why these are the two real roots and distinct roots as well. So if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, the roots are going to be imaginary. Okay, so this parabola, it's going to be inverted like this as well, depending upon the value of a here. So it will not cut the x-axis at all, as you guys already know. Now the next part, real and equal, so it is just going to touch the x-axis, and both the roots are going to be real and the same. Both the roots are going to be equal, right? So this nature and arithmetic progressions. Okay, so as you guys know, this is the nth term, where d is the common difference and n are the number of terms. A is what? The first term, and this will give you the nth term. So the nth term of the arithmetic progression and the sum of n terms as well. Okay, so this would be the sum of n terms if you know the last term. Okay, and if you don't know the last term, then this is going to be the sum of all first n terms of an arithmetic progression. Okay, so n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. I'm sure you guys have solved many problems related to this, but yeah, this is important stuff. Okay, next, the coordinate geometry. Okay, so what's a deleted part? Only the one, that is area of triangles. So when 3 coordinates are given, we've learned this, I'm sure. Okay, so that's no more going to be in the exam, right? So these are going to be very, very important. Okay, the distance formula, the section formula. Okay, mx2 plus nx1 by n plus n, you know that, right? So when 2 points are there, a x1 y1, b x2 y2, and you have a point here p, which is dividing them in the ratio ms to n. So how do you figure that point out? You use this, and then depending on this, you have the midpoint, because midpoint divides a segment in equal ratio, and then the centroid. The centroid is still there. Okay, fairly simple, right? Awesome. Now comes the fourth unit, geometry. So what's a deleted portion? So first part, circles, there is no deletion. So this is still going to be the most important part of geometry. Okay, so your circle theorems, the construction part. Okay, so how to construct tangents to a circle and all of that. I feel in this unit, it's going to be a very, very important part. All right. Now in triangles, what has been deleted? Proofs of the following theorems, only the proofs part. Okay, so the ratio of area of two similar triangles is equal to the ratio of square of the corresponding sides in a triangle if the square of one side is equal to the sum of squares. So eventually this is the Pythagoras theorem, right? So the proof for these theorems is not there anymore. Problems may come, may not come, we're not sure. Okay, application part may be there, but the proof for these isn't there. Constructions. Okay, so construction of triangles similar to a given triangle. Now this kind used to feature, I've seen that in the previous years past papers. This construction used to come for 4 marks or 5 marks or 3 marks, something like that. Okay, so this is again no more there. So criteria for similarity. Okay, so all these ASA, AA, SSS, and SAS. So all these criteria for similarity of triangles is there, and it's going to be important as well, right? And circles, as I told you, angle between radius and tangent, length of tangents from an external point. Okay, be very good with these theorems, because the application problems may come in for like four marks or more. Okay, in this particular exam, maybe for 5 marks or 3 marks. All right, the constructions part. Now this is there, as I told you. Okay, so to divide the line segment in the ratio and to construct tangents to a circle. Okay, if at all these come maybe for 5 marks or so. Okay, in 2021. Good. Now, what's a deleted portion in trigonometry? So introduction to the trigonometry, undefined values of ratios at 0 and 90, trigonometric identities. So the complementary angles part, okay, sine 90 plus theta, cos 90 plus theta, all of that. Heights and distances, there is no deletion. So I'm sure you can expect one, or because the weightage of trigonometry, if you remember, was 12 marks. Okay, so the concepts are not that much. Okay, so I feel this is going to be the game changer. Okay, so be very good with this unit, because you don't have to go through many concepts, and still, the weightage is high, so you can grab a huge chunk of marks, because all of this is easy. The definition of trigonometric ratio is fairly simple, depending on this right angle triangle and these identities, right? Sine square plus cos square is 1, secant square minus tan square is 1, cosecant square minus cot square is 1 again. So I'm sure you guys remember it. And of course, the angle of elevation and angle of depression, very, very important. So make sure you master this unit of trigonometry. Okay. And then lastly, mensuration. Okay, so areas related to circles, okay, they have been deleted. In surface areas and volumes, frustum of a cone has been deleted. I always had a difficulty remembering the formulas again. Okay, so that has been deleted. That's no more. So what is there? Areas related to circles, so area of sector, area of the segment, and I'm sure you remember these formulas here, right? The application part, and how do you get these as well, right? Cool. Now, all these, surface area, lateral surface area, total surface area, and volume of all these solids, okay, make sure you master them as well. Have that ability to visualize as well, like what happens when the surface area of a cylinder opens up. Why is it 2 pi RH and all of that, okay? Go through them. Yeah, and these formulas as well, like curved surface area of a cone, total surface area, and then the sphere and the hemisphere. Okay, so all those problems involving water flowing in, so how much time it will take, and melting one solid into another, that's still going to be pretty important for this exam as well. Okay, so now comes the last unit, statistics and probability. Now, in probability, no concept has been deleted, because there were hardly any concepts in probability, right? In statistics, what they've done is they've deleted the step deviation method for finding mean, and they've deleted the cumulative frequency graphs. Okay, so doesn't not going to matter too much. So this is anyways a fairly simple topic here. So in statistics, you guys have to master these things. So mean of a group data. So now you have the direct method, the assumed method. Now this has been deleted. Okay, so the step deviation method has been deleted, but any which ways, there's not a huge difference between the assumption method and the step deviation, right? The mode and median of group data. Make sure you remember those formulas, guys. Okay, because if at all a problem comes in from calculating mode and median of group data, they may come in for 3 marks or 5 marks. Okay, do remember that. So I cannot stress importance of this. So make sure you remember the formula. So my suggestion to you would be practice 5 data sets for both mode and median. Okay, and write the formula down every time. After some time, it's going to get registered in your subconscious anyways. Okay, and then the ogives. Okay, so the less than ogive or the more than ogive, the graphs and all for that, deriving the median. And lastly, this relationship where 3 times median is equal to mode plus 2 times mean. Okay, so this is going to be a fairly simple one, I'm sure. So again, critically important, okay, from the perspective of the exams, because again, they're not too much, right? There's not too much creativity in problems that come from statistics as well. And if you guys can practice 2 to 3 questions from all of these, you've mastered the chapter. Okay, so along with trigonometry and statistics and probability, and coordinate geometry, real numbers, all of these are going to be very simple, because the concepts aren't that much. Okay, and the level of difficulty that can generally come from these chapters is not going to be too high. Okay, so that's why they're going to be crucial. And probability, as you guys all know, there has been no deletion, so it's just mostly based on the definition of probability, right? So what are equally likely, random events, and then the cards. Okay, please make sure you memorize these. Okay, so 52 cards, out of which 26 are red, 26 are black. These 26 red cards will have 13 cards of diamonds, 13 of hearts, and then the black will have 13 clubs and 13 spades. And remember this, okay? King, queen, jack, out of these 13 would be there, and the remaining 10 would be here, right? So 3 face cards. So total, how many face cards are there? Total 12 face cards out of 52. Okay, so make sure you master this classification of cards. And now we come to the year 2019 board exam question papers. Okay, so we'll be going through the first stack, the easy part there. So let's go through these problems together, shall we? Come on. So find the value of k for which the roots of the equations are reciprocal to one another. So when we say roots are reciprocal, I can assume that if one root is alpha, the other is the reciprocal, that is 1 upon alpha. Okay, and the roots are reciprocal, so we got to figure out the value of k here. So the moment you look at it, well, this should click, right? The product product of roots. So in this case, the product of roots is going to be equal to what? So if the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, what is the product of roots? C by a. You know this, right? So this is going to be equal to what? K by 3. So I can knock these off in simple way. K is equal to 3. Fairly simple. So just by looking at it, reciprocal means, this thought should click that, if I multiply both the roots, I'm getting a 1. All right. Awesome. Check out the next one. So how many two-digit numbers are divisible by 3? Well, two-digit, right? So 3 times 1, 3, 3 times 2, 6, 3 times 3, 9, 3 times 4. So it's starting from 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 is 12, and it will go all the way up till 3 times 33, which is what? 99, because the focus has to be only on two-digit numbers. So you guys could count it manually as well, like 33 minus 4, and then add a 1, or you could use the arithmetic progression if you want to write the steps down. So you know how to figure out the nth term, right? So nth term Tn is a plus n minus 1 into d. And what are the terms? The progression is like this: 12, 15, and what else? 12, 15, 18, goes on and on up till 99. So we want to know what's the nth term here, right? So 99 is equal to 12 plus n minus 1 into, what is the common difference here? 3. Solve it, get the n value, and that's going to give you how many terms are there, because we simply want to know what term is the 99th term in this arithmetic progression. Okay, so this is going to be what? 99 minus 12 looks like 87. It is equal to n minus 1 multiplied by 3, divide with 3 on both sides. So this is 3 times 2, 3 times 9. So n minus 1 is equal to this. So n is 30. So there are 30 two-digit numbers which are divisible by 3. Awesome. Next problem. Find a rational number between root 2 and root 3. What are rational numbers? Terminating decimals, right? So root 2, as you all know, is irrational. But approximately, I know root 2 is 1.414. Root 3 is also irrational, and I know root 3 is 1.732 approximately, right? So all you guys have to do is pick one number which is there between 1.414 and 1.732. It could be 1.5, perfectly valid. 1.6, perfectly valid, rational, right? So any example would do here. Okay, good. And now these were some samples for the the part one. Okay, easy part, 1 mark questions and all of that. Now let's look at the second part, part B. The larger of the two supplementary angles exceeds the smaller one by 18 degrees. Find the angles. Okay, so this one is also easy as long as you know what supplementary angles are. So what are supplementary angles? Angles that add up to 180. So A plus B has to be equal to 180 degrees. Now the bigger one exceeds the smaller one by 18 degrees. So it means that the bigger one is more than the smaller one by 18. So if I assume that B is the smaller one, let's call it B, then A will be equal to B plus 18 degrees. So this is equal to 180 degrees. Solve it. You get 2B is equal to 162 and B is 81 degrees. So add 18 to that, you will get A as 81 plus 18 is how much? 99 degrees. So these are the two angles. Okay, fairly simple. Let's check out the other one. Find the ratio in which the segment joining the points divided by the x-axis. Also find the coordinates of this point on the x-axis. Now you know that any point on the x-axis is in the form of x comma 0, because the y-coordinate of a point on x-axis is 0. So I'm going to assume that the point P is x comma 0. Okay, very good. And now I know that the points are what? 1 comma minus 3 and 4 comma 5. Unfortunately, I don't know what the ratio is, so I'm going to call it m is to n. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. Okay, so we've just seen that in coordinate geometry, right? So this point x comma 0 is equal to the stuff, the mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n. So mx2, so this is 4m plus nx1, so 1n divided by m plus n, comma my2, so 5m minus 3n divided by m plus n. So once we figure out the value of m plus n, it's easy, and we're going to figure it out using this, because we know that this part has to be equal to 0. So 5m minus 3n divided by m plus n is 0, which means 5m is equal to 3n. Carefully here. Okay, so m divided by n is 3 by 5. I've seen some students quickly latch on to 5:3 is the ratio, but no, the ratio is 3:5 here. So all you guys have to do to figure out the point is simply substitute m as 3 and n as 5. So if you do that here, in this part here, so 4 times 3 plus 5 divided by 3 plus 5, This is 12 plus 5, 17 divided by 8. So the point is going to be 17 by 8, comma 0. Simple, right? Awesome. Just be careful with the ratios part. That's all. So a die is thrown once. Find the probability of getting a number which is a prime number. So how many prime numbers? Now, a die is just thrown once, right? And you know, these are the 6 possibilities when you're throwing a die, right? So what are prime numbers here? So 2, 3, 5. So the probability is going to be out of 6 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 3 primes, 2, 3, and 5. So fairly simple. The answer is going to be 1 over 2. Good. So second part now, a number lies between 2 and 6. Now, they never told you inclusive of 2 and 6. They just said that the number is between 2 and 6. So it is 3, 4, and 5. These 3 are between 2 and 6. So the probability for that is also going to be 3 upon 6, which is the same 1 by 2. If they ask you the percentage, 50-50% each. Good. Now we're going to move on to the third part. Okay, so questions are going to have more steps. That's it. Okay, so a father's age is 3 times the sum of the ages of his 2 children. All right, so generally in age related problems, what we generally do is we always start with the assumption of present age. Okay, so present age. Let's suppose father, okay, and this is the first son and this is the second son. Let's suppose the present age of father is X, the present age of these 2 sons are Y and Z. Okay, so good. So a father's age is 3 times the sum of the ages of the 2. So presently, a father's age is equal to 3 times the sum of the ages of the 2 children. Okay, so I've got that there. After 5 years, now 5 years later, now father is age is going to add up by 5, right? So X plus 5, and this is going to be equal to what? So after 5 years, his age will be 2 times the sum of their ages. So it's going to be 2 times the sum of their ages. But now the son is going to be Y plus 5, and this son is going to be Z plus 5. So this is coming around to what? So X plus 5 is equal to 2 times Y plus Z plus 10. Okay, so all you guys have to do is to simply solve these 2 equations. Now what you can do here is to make your life a little easy, since Y plus Z is already there, let Y plus Z value be equal to A. Okay, so X here is equal to 3A, and here X plus 5 is equal to 2 times A plus 10. Okay, because we any which ways have to find the present age of the father. We don't have to figure out the individual ages of the son, right? So now what you need to do is, in the place of A here, you can write X plus 3. Okay, and there you go. You've got your answer. Okay, so let me just do that here, because we know X is equal to 3A. So in the place of this, 2 times X by 3 plus 10, simplify this, that's all. So this is going to be 3X plus 15 is equal to 2X plus 60. Okay, I've taken the LCM faster, and this way you're getting the value of X as 45, and X eventually was the present age of the father. So there you go, the present age of the father is 45 years. So as you can see, the number of steps needed to get to the answer were a little more, and make sure you're writing the steps down properly. Okay, because of the space restrictions, my steps are jumbled around here and there, but you follow it in a straight path like this, so that's easy for the examiner to understand your work. Okay, awesome. Let's move on. So P and Q are points on the side CA and CB, respectively, of a triangle ABC, which is right angled. Let's see. So they've given you a right angled triangle here. Let me just draw that out for you. Now they have particularly mentioned that it is right angled at C. So this one has to be C. I'm going to go ahead, call this as A and B. Okay. So what do we have to prove? P and Q are points on side CA. So this is CA. Let P be here. And where is Q? Q is on this side here. So let Q be here. Okay. So I'm not going to do too much here. Okay. I'm just going to proceed depending on what needs to be proven. Okay. So what needs to be proven is AQ squared. So how do I get AQ squared? Well, let me just take a different color to show you that. I'm just simply going to join AQ. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. So in triangle ACQ, triangle ACQ is still a right angle triangle, right? ACQ. So I'm just simply going to apply the Pythagoras theorem. So what will I have? AC square plus CQ square is equal to AQ square. Why? Because the proof needs me to figure out AQ square. So this is how I'm going to progress. The second part is BP square. So which means I will have to join BP. Okay, so triangle PCB is also right angle, right? And I'm again going to apply the Pythagoras theorem. So what will I have? PC square plus CB square is equal to BP square. Okay, good. And now the proof wants me to add these two. All right. So if I add those two, I just simply need to be a little smart in combining here. So AQ square, I'm writing that down here. Okay. So AQ square plus BP square is equal to AC square plus CQ square plus PC square plus CB square. Now combine. So I need to have a AB square here. How will I get a AB square? Now if you look at this triangle ACB, AB square, let's just write that down here. AB square is equal to AC square plus BC square. I have that here, right? AC square plus BC square. So I'm simply going to join these two, and that will give me, if I combine these two, that is going to give me AB square, and eventually CQ square plus PC square should be PQ square. So that is equal to PQ square. So there you go. We have proven it. Okay. So fairly simple. Just move along depending on what is being asked. So this was a good a direction point for me to progress along. All right, awesome. Let's move on. Find the area of the shaded region in the figure if ABCD is a rectangle with sides and O is the center of the circle. All right, so we have a rectangle here. Now, what is the train of thought in your mind now? So how are you going to calculate the area of the shaded region? Well, what I get is all I'm going to do to find the area of the shaded region is from the area of the circle, I am going to remove the area of the rectangle. Okay, so make sure you write this step down. So how do you figure out the area of shaded? Well, my idea is I'm going to first find the area of circle, and from that I'm going to remove the area of the rectangle, and that's how I'm going to get the area of the shaded region. So area of the rectangle is not a big deal. The length and the breadth has already been given to you, so this part we already know. This is 6 times 8. Okay, good. So I just need to figure out the area of the circle, and I know the area of the circle is what? Pi r square, right? So this is pi r square. But I have a little problem here. What is it? I don't know the radius, but you know that this is 90, right? If this is 8 and this is 6, uh, this is a right angle triangle here, right? So apply Mr. Pythag there, and you will have AC square is equal to 8 square plus 6 square. Write these steps down, guys. Okay, again, I'm stressing on that. Write these steps down. You got to every time show the examiner that you know how to get AC. Okay, and this is how you get AC. Right, so this is 64 plus 36, which is 100, and then if you take the square root, you will get AC as 10. So AC is the diameter. Okay, how do you get the radius? Well, this part has to be 5 and this part has to be 5. That's it. So the radius is 5. So all you got to do is substitute here. So 3.14 multiplied with 5 square minus 6 times 8, 48. I'll leave the calculations part up to you, but you guys have to do it. Okay, have to do it and write it down, and you'll get full marks because you've shown all these steps like this. Okay, time to move on. Water in a canal 6 meters wide and 1.5 meters deep is flowing with the speed of 10 kilometers per hour. How much area will it irrigate in 30 minutes if 8 centimeters standing water is needed? Now, this is a canal, okay? So, and it is flowing at the speed of 10 kilometers per hour. Now, all I got to do is a water that is flowing from the canal onto this field, the volume of water that's going to come down is going to be equal to the volume of water that's going to be there in that area, right? Irrigation area. So volume 1 is equal to volume 2. So, but unfortunately, what I know is the speed that 10 kilometers length flows in 1 hour. Let's suppose this is the canal here. Okay, this is the canal, and I know this is going to be 10 kilometers in 1 hour, but we only need to know it 30 minutes. So if it is 10 kilometer in 1 hour, that is 60 minutes, then in 30 minutes is going to be 5 kilometers, half, right? So the length for half an hour is going to be 5 kilometers. This is going to be the length, and how much wide and how much deep it's there is already given to you. So 6, sorry, yeah, this is in kilometers. So 6 meters is going to be the breadth, and 1.5 meters is going to be the height. Okay, so the volume of water that will flow in half an hour is going to be equal to, make sure you convert everything to meters here. So that's going to be equal to 5,000. Write it down in the exam that you know that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Okay, good. So 5,000 multiplied with 6 multiplied with 1.5 meter cube. Do not forget the units. Okay, so this is the volume of water that is going to flow in this irrigation area. Okay, and it, they just say that it has to be 8 centimeters height. Okay, so now you know the volume is again going to be length times breadth times height is going to be equal to this 5,000 multiplied with 6 multiplied with 1.5 meter cube. Now length times breadth, they are asking you the area, right? So that's your area, right? And they have given you the height, right? Height is 8 centimeters. Again, right? That you know, 100 centimeters is 1 meter. You know the conversion. So 8 centimeters is going to be how many meters? 0.08. So the area is simply going to be 5,000 multiplied with 6 multiplied with 1.5 divided by 0.08 meters. And this is a meter cube. So eventually your answer will be in terms of meter square. Okay, so I've roughly shown you this, but you make sure you're writing the steps down neatly, and you know, writing these unit conversions as well. There may be extra marks allotment for that as well. Okay, so moving on to the next part now. So the last bit. So let's just quickly run down these questions as well. So the sum of first n terms of an arithmetic progression is 40, and that of the first 14 terms is 280. Find the sum of first n terms. So we know the sum of n terms is this: n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied with d. We know this. So write this formula first, all right? Sum of first 4 terms. So n is 4 now. So S4 is equal to 4 by 2 into 2a plus 4 minus 1. How much? 3. 3d. So this is going to be 2 times 2a plus 3d is equal to 40. This is given to you. This is given to you. In a similar way, the sum of first 14 terms. So S14 is going to be 14 by 2 into 2a plus 14 minus 1 will be 13d, right? So this is 7 times 2a plus 13d is equal to 140. So solve these two equations. Okay, so let me just do that for you. So 2a plus 3d is equal to 20 if I divide both the sides by 2, and 2a plus 13d is equal to, sorry, this is 280, not 140. This is 280. That's what I was thinking. How is it becoming equal? So the 7 times 4 zeros, so this becomes 40 after modifying this. And now simply subtract the equation 2 from equation 1, and you will have 10d is equal to 20 and d is equal to 2. So substitute the d back, and you will have 20 minus 6. So this is 3 times 2, 6. 20 minus 6 is 14, and you will get the value of a as 7. Okay, so all you need to do is substitute it back, and you will have the nth term. So the nth term is going to be n by 2 into 2 times 7, 14, plus n minus 1 multiplied with 2. Simplify this further in a nice easy format, and then you will get full marks for this. Okay, so I hope that was simple. Let's move on and check this one out. So a man in a boat rowing away from a lighthouse 100 meters high takes 2 minutes to change the angle of elevation of the top from 60 to 30. Now you guys know it, right? If an object is closer to me, I'll have to look at a larger angle. But if the angle is further away, the angle is going to be smaller, right? So let's draw this. Okay, so let this be the lighthouse. This is how much? 100 meters high. And let's suppose the object was here first. So the angle was how much? Angle was 60 degrees, right? Now it has moved away to this point. So the angle is going to be smaller, because as I told you, when the object is nearer, I have to look at a larger angle, but when the angle is farther, object is further, the angle is going to be smaller. So this is going to be 30 degrees. Okay, so this is 100. So 2 minutes to change the angle. Okay, so as it moves from this point A to this point B, A to B, it is moving in 2 minutes. So we have to figure out the speed of the boat in meters per minute. So let's assume that. Let's suppose the speed of the boat is some x meters per minute. Okay, now from A to B, how many minutes does it take? 2 minutes, right? So in 1 minute it moves x, in 2 minutes it will move 2x. So distance from A to B has to be 2x. Let's assume, let's call this C and let's call this D. Distance from C to A, let's suppose this is some y. Okay, so well, first figure out y, right? So in triangles ACD, in triangle ACD, tan 60 is equal to, what is tan? Opposite divided by adjacent. So this is 100 divided by y. So tan 60 is how much? Root 3. So root 3 is 100 divided by y, and you will get the value of y as 100 divided by root 3. Okay, keep it like that. Don't bother calculations with now. Okay, and now comes the second part. So now in triangle BCD, okay, in triangle BCD, again I'm going to take the value of tan. So tan 30 is going to be equal to 100 divided by y plus 2x. Okay, because from C to B it is y plus 2x. Now you've already figured out the value of y, so this is 1 by root 3 is equal to 100 divided by 100 by root 3 plus 2x, and there you go. Solve this, write down steps, neat, legible, taking the LCM and all of that, and they'll give you the full marks for this one as well. Okay, so I'm going to move on to another one. So if the median of the following frequency distribution is 32.5, find the values of F1 and F2. So you guys remember the formula for the median, right? So first thing, while we are calculating the median, I'm sure you've done this many times, you first need the cumulative frequency. Okay, so these two tables were given to you, right? The class table and the frequency table. So first I'm going to create a cumulative frequency table. So F1, then we add these two, and then we add this. You guys know how to make a less than cumulative frequency table, right? So this is how we make it. Yeah. Now they've given you that the median is 32.5. Now 32.5 looks like here. I'm going to take a better color. 32.5 will be in this class, right? Because they've given you the median, and 32.5 is between 30 and 40. Do you recollect the formula for median of group data? That is L plus n by 2 minus CF divided by F multiplied with H. Okay, and let the examiner know what L is. So right, L is equal to the lower limit of the median class. Let the examiner know what N is, what CF is, what F is, and what H is, and they may give you marks for that. Okay, they will give you marks for that, I'm sure. All you got to do is simply substitute now. So this L, now this is median, right? Median is equal to, so median is how much? It's given at 32.5. So 32.5 is equal to L, which is 30, plus n by 2. N is 40 here, the frequency, right? So 40 by 2 is 20, minus the cumulative frequency of the class preceding the median class. So that is going to be minus 14 plus F1 divided by the frequency of the median class, which is 12, multiplied with the class size, which is 10. Okay, so simplify this, bring the 30 here, you will get 2.5 multiplied with 12 divided by 10 is equal to 20 minus 14 minus F1. So this is going to be how much? 2.5 times 4, 4 times 3. This is 6 minus F1. So F1 is going to be 3 here. So just by applying the median formula, you figured out the value of F, and you already know that 31 plus F1 plus F2 is equal to 40. 31 plus F1 plus F2 is equal to 40. You already know the value of F1, plug it in, and you will have the value of F2. Okay, so writing the formula, writing what each variable is, and then showing the steps down is crucially important here in order for you to get full marks. Okay, so let's move on. Now, I think some general tips, to be followed before the exam day. All right, so what do you need to do? Guys, remember this. I know when you go to the exam center and your friends are revising and somebody comes up and tells you that, hey, look, did you study this? This is important and all of that. Don't freak out. Okay, do not freak out, and do not talk anything about the exam before the exam. Just talk something random like a cricket match or whatever. All right, so do not look at any topic before the exam day. Whatever you've studied is enough. Okay, revise the prepared notes that you have. All right, be relaxed and cool, eat well, and I cannot stress on the importance of this. Do not do a night out before the exam. sleep. Okay, so if you're habituated for sleeping to 8 to 10 hours a day, even before the exam day, get ample amount of rest, because this is going to make sure that you're stress free. Okay, treat it just like any other exam. Don't There's no need to freak out or take too much stress for this. Okay, and what other tips do I have for you? Well, use the first 15 minutes effectively. As I told you, during the start of the exam, it's very crucial to build a positive momentum, okay? Because that positive momentum is going to give your mind the necessary confidence that it's going to need, okay? Do not worry about difficult or tough questions if you have prepared very, very well for the exams. And if the problem is difficult for you, well, it's going to be difficult for pretty much everybody else, right? Understand the worth of each questions, maintain speed and accuracy, keep a close watch on time, and if at all there is time left after you have finished all the questions, do make sure that you go back and check if you've written the steps down correctly, or in case you've missed out on any steps or not, and you are going to do fine after that. Okay, so that's it, right? So I'm sure these tips and tricks that we've discussed must have been should be helpful. Okay, but you guys already know how to take exams like these. You've taken plenty throughout your life. It's just that you don't have to treat this one any different than that. Okay, although this is important, but still, be calm, be good, be easy, prepare well, and treat it just like any other exam, and I'm sure you do great. Okay, so that's it from my side. I hope these tips were helpful enough for you. So good luck with your preparation. I'm sure you'd come out in flying colors. So thank you for your time. Take care. Bye bye.